What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Alex Pereira breaks silence on cheating allegations. After the UFC 313 Pereira Ankalaev card, one of the newly minted champions coaches accused Alex Pereira of greasing ahead of their fight. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. This week, Poatan appeared on the Ariel Helwani show to discuss the big loss, as well as the potential rematch he hopes will take place in August. During the appearance, Pereira fired back at Ankalaev's coach, shutting down any claims that he greased. "I absolutely didn't put anything on my body. For me, that's him trying to make an excuse to justify the fact that he trained a guy to take me down, but the guy got stuffed for 12 of his takedown attempts. You didn't do what you're supposed to do, and now you're trying to make excuses to justify that." Pereira also went on record as saying that he still believes he won the first, third, and fifth rounds, despite what he says was an off night for him. "That definitely was not my best performance. I definitely was not on. It was more like an off day. I didn't feel right." Part of the reason Pereira may have felt off inside the octagon was because he still was getting over norovirus and a broken left hand. During his appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, he confirmed a report from Joe Rogan, saying that despite being sick and injured, he doesn't regret competing. "My hand is fine, but it did affect a lot of things. I don't want to make excuses. I don't want to use this as leverage for anything. This was one of the more complicated fight camps that has ever happened, but I do not regret fighting. Like I said, I've conquered a lot." Considering Pereira and Ankalaev are both looking to run things back, it sounds like we'll see a rematch sooner than later. Magomed reacted to the Alex Pereira interview on X this morning. Magomed said, "He upset I hold him against the cage, but he not upset when I almost knock him out. Nobody in the world thank you won. Next fight will be KO under 3 round. I only trained 4 weeks from my last fight. The UFC know this was his best chance." Then reacted to Alex Pereira's greasing response by saying, "Honestly, I really like this coach, but I don't like Alex's face." And lastly, he reacted to Pereira talking about the rematch, saying that it'll be a different fight. Magomed fired back with, "Your game will make this man sleep." What are your thoughts on Magomed Ankalaev's response here? Are you excited for the rematch? Charles Oliveira calls out Ilia Topuria for being disrespectful. Since Ilia Topuria announced its move up to 155, he and Charles Oliveira have continued to take shots at one another. On social media this week, Topuria told Oliveira to be quiet while going through all 10 of Bronx's career losses. During an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show on Tuesday, Oliveira fired back, saying that the fighter formerly known as El Matador is being disrespectful. "I think he's just trying to dig out a fight. He's saying a lot of crap. I really respect his fights, the way he's come up and everything, but he's being very disrespectful now. He's saying a lot of things that he shouldn't." While some fans have been calling for Oliveira and Topuria to fight for the #1 contender spot, Bronx has made it clear that he's not interested in fighting Topuria. During his appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Oliveira was asked about the possibility of getting passed over for a title shot. "I'm just an employee here. If he's given the chance and not me, I'm going to keep fighting, I'm going to keep preparing, and I'm going to keep waiting for my turn to come around. It is what it is. I don't think much about it. I'll fight whoever comes to fight me, and that's about it." Although he's also said that he's interested in fighting Max Holloway for the BMF belt, it sounds like the former champion has no desire to run things back with Arman Tsarukyan if he gets passed up for a crack at the belt. "I respect him, I respect his style. He's fighting, but right now, I'm seeking the title. That's the fight I want. I want to fight for the title, that's it." With plenty of options on the table, it'll be interesting to see how things shake out in the lightweight division. Now it looks like Ilia Topuria is preparing himself for a matchup with either Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira next, but believes that they both are scared to fight him. Ilia said, "All my training is focused on Islam or Charles because I don't see other opponents. Neither of them seems to dare to fight me. These are the symptoms of fear, we all know that, but it's normal, I'd be scared too." Ilia also spoke about why the UFC has a hard time putting an event in Spain. He thinks it's because of the ESPN deal and the time zone difference between American viewers and when the fight would take place in Spain. Ilia said, "It's because of the agreement the UFC has with ESPN, the scheduling issue, because if they bring a numbered event to Spain, it would have to be at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. to be primetime on US TV. So I don't see it as a very feasible to have everyone on their feet at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Even as an athlete, I don't see myself competing at that time. I already did it once in Abu Dhabi where we had to fight at such a crazy time, and I don't want to do it again, to be honest." What are your thoughts on the situation? Who do you want to see Ilia fight next? Let us know down in the comment section below. Alexander Volkanovski praises Islam Makhachev. Alexander Volkanovski might have been knocked out by Ilia Topuria in the second round of their UFC 298 fight, but he believes that the only fighter who can drag him into deep waters and beat him over 5 rounds is Islam Makhachev. Topuria and everyone else merely have a puncher's chance. During a pre-fight interview with Main Event TV ahead of his fight with Diego Lopez in April, Volk praised Makhachev while talking about Diego Lopez's path to victory in their upcoming featherweight title fight. "I don't believe anyone can beat me. The only person that I can see giving me a tough fight for 5 rounds is an Islam Makhachev. which we know in the first one, as you've seen, everyone else has just got to punch his chance. That's just how I always look at it, and I truly believe that, and that's the confidence I have in myself. No one can beat me, they can catch me, so I think he needs to be reckless to beat me. If he tries to fight this perfect fight, it's not gonna work. He needs to try and be reckless and catch me. That's his best chance. Ahead of the fight, Volk is sitting as a slight betting favorite on most major sports books, while on the flip side, Lopez is sitting as a slight underdog. Whether Volkanovski can break the curse of fighters over 35 fighting for titles in weight classes below 185 pounds and reclaim his title, only time will tell. UFC updates. Heading into this weekend's Fight Night card in Mexico, let's take a look at today's UFC updates, starting with a new addition to the UFC Vegas 106 card set to take place at the Apex on May 17. According to reports, Nursultan Ruziboev and Dustin Stoltzfus will throw down on the card, with Ruziboev looking to build on a win in February and Stoltzfus looking to build on a first-round win from November. Later in the month, Aaron Blanchfield and Macy Barber will throw down in a 5-round main event, as Blanchfield looks to build on a win over Rose Namajunas, and Barber looking to work her way into title contention with her 7th straight victory. We also have 2 new additions to the UFC 316 card. According to Tuck Talks MMA, the Chito Vera Mario Bautista fight that was originally set for the Des Moines card has been moved to the UFC 316 card in June. In addition, a fight between Bruno Silva and Joshua Van is expected to take place on the card as well, with Silva looking to bounce back from a loss to Manel Kape, and Van looking to build on a 3-fight win streak. Last but not least, the Curtis Blades Rizvan Cunha fight, which was scheduled to happen in February and then was moved to March and finally May, has once again been postponed. According to a social media post from Blades, the fight is now reportedly set to take place on June 21st in Azerbaijan. UFC manager reacts to Colby Covington's comments. Earlier this week, Colby Covington took aim at Paul Felder, airing the fighter turned commentator out for a situation where he allegedly got too drunk while on an army base and wound up getting tied to a toilet. According to Covington's version of events, Felder drank a bottle of Jack Daniels and started getting into it with his manager, Brian Butler. At that point, Covington reportedly stepped in to get a blacked out Irish dragon to back down. According to Brian Butler, however, Felder might have gotten drunk, but at no point was he strapped down to a toilet because he was out of control like Covington alleges. I open the door and I see the water coming out from the bathroom, and I see Paul's shadowy figure in the window by his bed in the back where I just see the silhouette. It's just kind of teetering, and I'm like, this is like a horror movie. So I'm like, all right, who's going on? I hear, you gotta go in, you're the manager. I'm like, okay, I'll go in. I'm like, Paul, man, what the hell happened to your room? He's like, I slammed the lid and the toilet broke. Who knows what happened? I'm like, listen, we gotta get out of here and let's clean this up, get you to another room and get out of here. And he was just like, he wasn't looking at me. We could tell that he had a lot of whiskey in him, and he was kind of like looking through me or looking at my chest. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my head. I'm like, there's a slight chance if I press him too hard, he's going to swing on me. I knew probably not. That was the end of it. The next morning, we woke up. Everybody in the hotel lobby was ready to give Paul some as soon as he came off the elevator, and they did, and it was a big laugh, and it was just fun, and now they've been asking us to come back ever since, and it just hasn't lined up, and that's the truth of it. There was never any military police, he was never tied to a toilet, he was never trying to start a fight with me. He got angry with me because I guess I joked him too much on. As Butler went on to explain, Covington was looking out for both him and Felder during the whole situation, something he says is pretty on brand for Colby, who he says is a totally different person off camera. Dana White ghosts Logan Paul asking to join the UFC. While there's no love lost between Dana White and Jake Paul, Dana's praised Logan Paul as a good businessman in the wake of the UFC signing a deal with Prime. During a recent episode of his Impulsive podcast, Logan told guest Tom Aspinall that he actually texted Dana White about fighting on the UFC 300 card last year. White never got back to Paul, and the way he sees things, it might have been because of how CM Punk's stint in the UFC went. CM Punk up. He up, and after that, Dana was like, I'm never doing this again. But dude, I'm not CM Punk. He's a great wrestler, not a UFC fighter. I think I would be a much better UFC fighter than I would just a boxer. My skill is wrestling. I'm a wrestler. Paul spoke about the situation, recalling how he got no response from Dana when he texted him about the UFC 300 card while speaking with Aspinall.
What weight are you? Like, what's your weight?
I'd probably fight 185,
Yeah,
which
middleweight.
is a tough weight
So
class.
name
but
some of
it's-
your opponents in that class.
At one point, Pereira. I think Drukas.
DDP.
Yeah.
DDP's the man at the minute.
It would have been Izzy at one point. Well, my skill is wrestling.
Okay.
Like I am a wrestler.
I did see a video
by
of you
trade.
wrestling actually.
Yeah.
Who was that with at the PI?
It was with Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
Is it too late?
No, I don't think you're too old.
I could get one for the right opponent, but it wouldn't be a DDP, dude. I'm not fighting for a world title, or it.
Did you speak to?
Okay,
did you have any?
let's get it.
Did you have any conversation with the UFC about it?
And I told Dana for UFC 300, I texted him, I said, hey man, like consider me available to fight on the undercard in the Sphere. Basically completely ignored me. No. which I think spoke volumes. Haven't bothered him about it since.
If Logan is set on competing in MMA, the most likely landing spot would probably be the PFL, considering Jake Paul has a good relationship with the promotion. Dana White releases fighters from the UFC. Ahead of this weekend's Fight Night card in Mexico, 3 fighters have been removed from the UFC's roster. The automated Roster Watch account picked up the changes, relaying the news to fans via social media. First up, we have Antonina Shevchenko, the sister of Valentina, who has not fought since 2022 when she picked up a split decision win over Courtney Casey, pushing her pro record to 10-4. From the looks of things, her inactivity has led to her release. And this morning, Antonina Shevchenko revealed she's officially retired from the sport of MMA after being released by the UFC. She posted the following on Instagram. Dear friends, didn't have the opportunity to leave my gloves in the octagon by tradition. I didn't think my fight in UFC in 2022 would be the last. I'm leaving my gloves in this post. It's time to be focused on the next page, my career as a pilot. My heart and my head are completely filled with airplanes and sky, and it's hard to express how happy I am that aviation has come into my life. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. Next up, we have Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who is fresh off a first-round loss to Cesar Almeida in January. The loss came after a no contest in Al Hassan's previous bout against Cody Brundage and marked his 3rd loss in his last 5 fights. Last but not least, we have Walt Harris, who was hit with a 4-year suspension a few years back for PED violations. Guillaume Cruz and Damon Martin broke the news of Harris's release, with Martin writing, Walt Harris has been removed from the UFC roster, per UFC officials. Harris hasn't fought since 2021, and he was handed a 4-year suspension after testing positive for steroids that does not end until 2027. Now, he's been removed from the UFC roster. Harris parts ways with the UFC in the middle of a 3-fight skid that saw him lose to Alistair Overeem, Alexander Volkov, and Marcin Tybura.